Sunday. We got 8 games on the schedule today. 8. We had 6 last night. So tomorrow we only have 1. And I'm just going to let you guys know first off, I know tomorrow's the Winter Classic. Tomorrow is also a day that I've been putting off. The wife and I want to go and see a movie. We've been putting it off because of inclement weather conditions. Tomorrow we're going to take a shot at it. Odds are I probably miss the Winter Classic tomorrow. These things happen. But today, I could definitely catch this as in a couple of hours, the Las Vegas Golden Knights are at home against the Toronto Maple Leafs. Oh, this should be fantastic. And I say that with no sarcasm whatsoever because Toronto's playing well. And then the Colorado game hits. So now they should be angry enough to come out with a really good game against Vegas. Vegas is known for starting slow. Vegas is known for having to come from behind. And Toronto's a team with a lot of offense. This could be a very fast game. This could be potentially a high-scoring game. At this time, goaltenders haven't been confirmed. It's probably Anderson and Fleury. And it could be a very high-scoring, high-speed, high-tempo game. This could be fun. For Toronto, it's a chance to get themselves back on track. If they can beat Vegas, it definitely gives them some momentum going forward, and they need it. Toronto really needs this victory. They need to beat a highly ranked team and get themselves back in the swing of things. And Vegas could be exactly what the doctor ordered, or it could be more of the same. Completely honest, could be more of the same. Vegas has been very impressive this run, and they were number 1 on last night's power rankings by what they've earned. They have earned that spot. They are playing some great hockey. We'll see how far they go with it, but for right now, they're the best team in the league in terms of the way they're playing, and they get a chance to prove it against a Leafs team that's relatively healthy and good to go. They should be highly, highly motivated. Should be. Pittsburgh. So, Penguins, you want to get out of the bottom row on my power rankings. Start by beating Detroit and then move on from there. For Detroit, this is a chance to kind of put the boots to a team that a year ago was on their way to another Stanley Cup playoff and a Stanley Cup championship. And while Detroit can't knock them out of the playoffs in an actual playoff round, they can prevent them from getting there. At the very least, they can make life even more miserable for Pittsburgh than it is right now. The pressure's on. It's going to be likely Murray and likely Howard in net. The pressure's on for Pittsburgh. They have to win. They cannot afford to lose this one, and they cannot afford to continue to watch as teams in their division keep pulling away from them. They just keep pulling further and further away from them. The playoffs are already looking like they could potentially be out of reach for Pittsburgh. I do wonder how long it's going to take Rutherford. If they lose this one to Detroit, come on, he's got to do something. Can't afford to lose another one and not make, and I'm not talking about the minor deals. I'm talking about like making a substantial deal. I don't know who he deals, but that's his job, not mine. My job is only to say, hey, Pittsburgh's in trouble. Pittsburgh is playing really poor hockey right now. And Mike Sullivan should absolutely be untouchable, but the fastest way of fixing this would be switching the coach. It sort of reminds me of... even saying this, it reminds me of New Jersey. Back when they were winning Stanley Cups. They were switching coaches regularly. Larry Robinson came in. He's great. A couple of years later, he's gone. And it's merciless, and it is a job that is thankless, and yet, everybody wants to be a coach in the NHL. Everybody wants that shot. And it is a fickle job because for Pittsburgh, you've got all of this star power. You've got a lot of really good players, and they're not playing like it. And that, in the end, usually means the coach's job. And in Detroit, there's a coach who should be under pressure. I just don't feel like he is. It doesn't feel like there's any chance that Blashill loses his job. So we are now going into 2018 with every coach still employed out of 31. It's weird for me. It's probably weird for you, but it's where we are. It is a strange, strange world indeed. All right. Winnipeg is different on the road than they are at home. Winnipeg playing in Edmonton. The Oilers have lost 2 in a row, one in overtime and one in regulation. And there's definitely some visible signs that they're crashing back to earth. After that nice, decent winning streak they had going. Winnipeg, on the other hand, has been playing very well. They're at 50 points now. They're kind of rolling. But again, now they're back on the road. And Edmonton is a tougher opponent than their record would make them look like they are. McDavid is kind of overdue for a really big game. And as I said, Winnipeg is different on the road than they are at home. It's a completely different experience. Hellebuck in net, likely Talbot for Edmonton. That, for me, because it's a road game for Winnipeg, is a saw-off. If this is in Winnipeg, absolutely Hellebuck all the way. Road game, I don't know. Winnipeg needs to win this because they are the only of the 3 top teams in the Central. They're the only ones playing tonight. And for Edmonton, well, look, they got to catch San Jose. San Jose's got 44 points. They are currently sitting with 37. If they lose and San Jose wins, we're looking at a position where they're either 8 or 9 points back. And you don't the likelihood of coming back from that is so small. The chances of them coming back and getting a win and winning that playoff spot, it becomes so minuscule. So they need the win, and they need to hope that Dallas does them a favor tonight. So there's that. Now, on to other things. The Islanders are in Columbus, Colorado. Bernier and Halak are the starters. The Islanders 20-14-4. The Avalanche 18-16-3. I honestly think the Avs could frustrate the Islanders. The Islanders come in with this high-octane attack, which is kind of top-heavy. It's mostly restricted to their top line and their top 2 lines. And the Avs have improved. They've improved a lot, actually, over last season especially. But they seem to be getting better, and even though their record isn't showing it, I do think there's a confidence building in Colorado. And with that Nathan McKinnon kid, it appears that he finally is getting to that level he was supposed to be at when he was drafted first overall, which is bad news for the league. And I wouldn't be surprised to see Colorado win this one. The Islanders have been on a fall down the standings. And because they're sitting there 44 points, Pittsburgh has 41. If the Islanders had been playing better, then Pittsburgh might already be looking at rebuilding and tearing things apart. But because of the fact that the Islanders, and to a lesser extent Columbus, have been faltering, it keeps the hopes alive for a team like Pittsburgh, even though they're nowhere near the playoffs. Really, when you look at the standings, you're like, oh, they're 7th in the division. But they're not that far out. So this should be a very hotly contested game. The Islanders should be very motivated to come out and play tonight and try to beat a team that should, on paper, be not easily defeated. That's the wrong way of putting it. This is a team they should beat. They should. The Islanders, if they are a playoff team and they're on their way to a good run, then they should be able to go into Denver and beat the Avalanche. The Avalanche have a good home record, though, so good luck with that. Next up, the Arizona Coyotes, who are 9-26-5. I did a double take when I looked at that record. I'm like, really? No, oh, wow. So even if you take out the huge losing streak at the start of the year, they still have an abysmal record. They're in Anaheim. So if the Ducks want to take advantage of a weak opponent, this is it. This is your chance. Team number 31's up there now, and Arizona is not playing particularly well. And I don't think they have the talent to win even when they do. Ronta's been confirmed as a starter. Gibson is likely for the Anaheim Ducks. And the Ducks, to me right now, look like they're getting their mojo back. In their last game against the Flames, a lot's been made of Ryan Kesler taking on Matt Tkachuk. Two things with that. One, yeah, Kesler can fight. Whether I like him or dislike him, Kesler can fight. And two, having Kesler back in the lineup changes the complete makeup of the Anaheim Ducks. The way they play the game. Kesler is a solid defensive center who can also score goals at the other end. And like I said, he can fight. Flames fans should know Ryan Kesler can fight. And now Matt Tkachuk knows that he can fight. And I would look for them to assert their dominance a little bit tonight against Arizona, because they've been a sleeping giant that's been dealing with all of these injuries. And now they've got Getzlaf back. They've got Kesler back. That should make a huge difference to this team. Because now Henrique drops down the lineup. And I don't know what you do, because now they have so many weapons. Just like that, they go from a team that's relatively easy to come back against, a team that's got very little confidence. Now they're one of those top-tier teams again. They just don't have the record for it. So now it's a matter of winning games that they should win against an Arizona Coyotes team especially. This is where they prove that that either I'm right or I'm crazy. So we'll see which one it is. It might be both. You might be looking at a situation where it's both. Could happen. San Jose's in Dallas. So while they're watching what the Ducks are doing, because they're only a couple of points up on the Ducks, they have games in hand on the Ducks. But Jones is likely the starter, and Bishop's been confirmed for Dallas. San Jose needs to keep the pedal down because they're looking at teams above them. The smartest thing that a coach can do is say, all right, here's the team we're looking to catch. Don't look at the teams behind you because you're already ahead of them, and focus on the teams ahead of you. So seeing the Kings won last night, the Sharks should come out very motivated to win this one tonight. And Dallas, they were kind of lucky to win that game against St. Louis the other night. St. Louis outplayed them, and Ben Bishop stood on his head and got them the win. If they play like that again against San Jose, I think they lose. I do. Dallas is a good team. They're not a bad team, and neither is San Jose. They're both very good teams, and I think this could be a fun one to watch. So keep your eyes open for that one. Yeah, I mean, they match up very, very closely offensively, defensively, and in net. So this should be a good game. And I don't really have anything else to say about it. Just a good game between two good teams. And San Jose's a little bit hotter than Dallas right now. And tonight's game either further shows that, or Dallas fights back and proves they're just as good. We'll see, though. Dallas is very wildly inconsistent. The Flames are at home against Chicago. So Chicago fans had to feel like they were at the bottom when they lost to Vancouver, and rightfully so. Western Canada has been very, very accommodating to other teams. Teams come on this tour of Western Canada, they get treated like kings, and by which I mean, the Kings usually beat Western Canadian teams, and that's been the case for almost every team in the league this year. Chicago felt bad coming out of Vancouver. They must have felt better coming out of Edmonton. And here's where it's already an issue. So Jeff Glass is this big story. And no, I haven't done a video on it yet, but it likely happens after tonight. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow I'm doing a video on Jeff Glass and his career and what he's been able to do. For Calgary, Smith's likely the starter. The point is this. Chicago tonight can put the Flames further into a position where they might want to fire Gulutzan. And again, it's not that a coach is performing badly. as much as it's the team's underperforming, what do? The quickest thing to do is, just change coaches. Because it worked for teams last year. Almost every team that fired the coach last year got better, except Florida. And that was a bad move. Everybody agreed at the time they shouldn't have fired Gallant. And now, we look at what Gallant's doing with Vegas, and firing him by Florida was a mistake. I don't see that same issue if Calgary were to get rid of Glenn Gulutzan. I've always been on the fence with Gulutzan. He's okay, but he seems more like a transitional coach. He's not a coach that I view as a guy that you bring in if your team's rebuilding to bring along your superstars. And he doesn't seem like a coach that you're going to have if your team's contending. That's just my opinion from when I saw him in Dallas, from him as an assistant coach in Vancouver, and now what I've seen in Calgary. Seems like a decent guy, but I could see him being the fall guy if the Flames continue to lose. For the Hawks, a win by the Hawks, a loss by Dallas, and it'll take away a lot of the sting of some of their recent play. And it may come down to Jeff Glass. So if Glass goes into Calgary and steals another one, he made 42 saves in his first game on 45 shots, and he's a hero in Chicago, and rightfully so. If he steals another one, Anton Forsberg may not be long for the NHL. I would think that a couple of decent starts by Glass and Chicago may look at trading Anton Forsberg. I don't know what the market would be for Forsberg, but they may look at it. They might say, well, who needs a backup? And Tampa might call them up and say, Budai's going to be out for a while, we'll take him. And then we could see, is Forsberg simply a goaltender who's been a victim of circumstance, where his record is because he's been on teams that haven't given him goal support, or they have him in great teams, or is it just that he's not an NHL level goaltender? Which I said during the summer, took some flack, understood, halfway retracted it. But I still think that if Chicago can get some solid backup goaltending from Glass, once Crawford comes back, Forsberg's done. He's out in Chicago. Eddie Lack got traded to Jersey, so if Lack has value on any level, then so will Forsberg. And Chicago would be foolish not to look into it, especially considering where they are in the standings right now. But it is going to be a story. If Glass can win in Calgary tonight, it is going to be a story. And it won't matter if it's because Calgary can't score. It won't matter if the Flames just have a horrible game. The optics will be Glass wins 2 in a row on the road, wins both in Alberta, and the pressure's then on. Once Crawford comes back, and there's no timetable for that I know of yet, but once Crawford comes back, then what do you do with your backup position? You want to win games. The end of the day, you have to win games. I look at what Boston did with Hudobin. Yeah, losing Subban really helped Vegas. Bless you. Losing Subban really helped Vegas. But Boston couldn't afford to lose Hudobin either, because they had the known and they had the unknown. So they had to pass on the younger goalie, go with the older goalie. In this case, Glass is much older than Forsberg. But if Glass is putting up the results and Forsberg doesn't look like he's capable of doing the same, he'll be on his way out the door. Maybe Vegas picks him up. Maybe he goes 10-0 with Vegas. I don't know. It's that year. Things are just really weird. All right, Tampa. So last but not least, although this is a big game for Columbus. Columbus at home against Tampa. Vasilevsky. I would be very surprised if it's not Bobrovsky, although Korpisalo has been playing very well, and this might be a good spot to play him. Give Bobrovsky a nice little rest. Although we just had the Christmas break, right? Columbus is 22-14-3. Vegas. Tampa's 27-8-2. Tampa doesn't want to start going on a losing streak. It's funny because you're the number one team in the league. You're cruising along. You got 56 points, but you never want to go through that. And Tampa had that sort of a dip. What was it, a month ago? They went, I think, 3 or 4 games where they had problems winning, which is a lot for Tampa this year. So they're going to want to come in and jump on a very shaky, lacking in confidence Columbus team. Columbus, on the other hand, I would expect them to come out quickly and probably put up 10 shots first 5 minutes. Like, really, they need that kind of a push. Columbus is in danger because Carolina's getting better. Carolina's ready to move up into a playoff spot. One of the good teams in the Metro will miss the playoffs. Columbus doesn't want to be that team. Beating the Tampa Bay Lightning would go a long way towards establishing them as still being capable of getting in the playoffs and not being the team that's going to be the victim of this insertion of the Hurricanes. It's really going to be between, I think, the Islanders and the Blue Jackets. I can't see the Rangers falling back, and I can't see Washington. I can't see New Jersey falling back either. I know Jersey's in their bye week now, but I can't see them falling back. I can't see the bye week hurting them. Devils fan asked in the power rankings, what happens for New Jersey if they're in a bye week? Does that move them down? Does that move them? It just depends on what the other teams are doing. I just look at Jersey and they basically freeze. And if teams that are higher than them lose a bunch of games, then Jersey moves up. And vice versa. If teams behind them win a bunch of games and look really good, Jersey moves down. That's the way I approached bye weeks last year, and it's the same this year. But none of these teams have a bye week right now. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. Who are you guys taking to win? And Toronto and Vegas. That could be fun. A lot of fun. This actually, to me, it looks like a night where we could see a lot of goals. I could see a lot of goals being scored tonight. To make up for a rather slow night last night and 3 shutouts. I could see a lot of goals getting scored tonight. Let me know what you think about that one too. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. And thanks for watching. I'll talk to you again soon.